I'm a partner sales or partner solution engineer here at Snowflake. So by and large, I spend 70% of my time working directly with customers. So I support customers that are both of AWS and Snowflake and helping them understand how to use both platforms together with a specialty in AI and ML workloads. So really leaning in and helping those customers understand how to fit our different capabilities together, where there's overlap, where there's good opportunity for our platforms to work together, and then actually hands-on keyboard, kind of helping them get connected and understanding how to work together. So just kind of diving in, I'm going to do a really quick overview on Snowflake and AWS. I'm going to dive deep and spend quite a bit of time talking about Snowflake Cortex and what we offer for AI, and then talk about how that works together with AWS, and then introduce two customer stories. So one slide on the overview, right? So Snowflake has been around for over a decade now, and we've always been deployed on AWS, right? So if you're not familiar, Snowflake is a SaaS platform, and when you deploy it, you're going to deploy it onto one of the three major cloud providers. And by far, our biggest cloud provider that we deploy to is AWS. So many of our customers are running Snowflake right on top of AWS hardware. So when you're using Snowflake, you're using EC2, you're using SV buckets all under the hood, as well as several other services that we manage for you. But in addition to that, we also have, I think it's something like over 30 native integrations with AWS native services, right? So at the end of the day, if you're looking for a way to connect from a service to Snowflake or vice versa, there's always a way, right? But it's a lot easier and it's a lot better experience when we have a native connector experience, and we have many of them. Also worth noting, right, is that when Snowflake first came to the market over 10 years ago, we were a really good EDW purpose built for the cloud, right? So for customers who were used to a traditional SQL warehouse on-prem and they were looking to move to the cloud, Snowflake was a great option for them and still is today, right? We offer a really great experience for those customers who want all of the niceties of the cloud as far as serverless and scalability, security, low admin, all those things. But worth noting is that we've grown considerably since then, right? And I've been with Snowflake for over 3 years. And I would say 3 years ago, we were kind of starting to be more than EDW. But I think in earnest, we are now, right? And we have a lot of customers who are using our non-EDW services in production to get value out of their data. And I guess let's get into that in the next section. So Snowflake Cortex. So because Snowflake is a unified SaaS platform, we don't necessarily have different services, right? We have features and functionality inside of the platform. And anything that we have to do that's related to AI or LLM functionality. So we have traditional ML functionality, right? For training and deploying models and monitoring. We have all of that. But anything related to AI is going to be branded as Cortex, right? And sort of kind of starting on the right here, that starts with governance. And Snowflake's always had governance. We have our back controls and guardrails, but we now have enhanced governance for evaluations and tracing of your AI systems, and implementing monitoring, and also rolling out an AI gateway to leverage MCP server to be able to connect into to Snowflake and utilize your tools. We also have models, right? So also worth mentioning, right, is that like Snowflake, we're not in the same vein that we're not in the business of building like hardware, right? We're not a hyperscaler. We don't have any compute we deploy on top of the hyperscalers. We're also really not in the business of being a lab or developing our own models. But we are in the business of is making sure we have the best of breed models inside of Snowflake, right? So we have Claude models that are managed for you by Snowflake that you can use, but that's all deployed on Bedrock. We have the OpenAI models. We have the Llama models. We have other OSS models that are out there. And we're really staying ahead of the curve. And it's sort of table stakes now and make sure that you have the latest and greatest models available in your platform. So that's all there. And we also have some embedding models that we do build ourselves. It's sort of kind of the one area where we do build some models for embedding and for some of our document processing. But by and large, for a lot of those large lab models, we're in the business of bringing them in and making it easy for customers to use those models with their data. Looking at the bottom, Obviously we you have data, right? For years now, customers have been bringing their structured and unstructured data into Snowflake. It's a great experience. It's what's gotten us the market share that we've gotten now. As far as being able to scale, easy use, serverless, low admin. Worth noting in the bottom left of that data tab is that we now have something called OpenFlow. We made an acquisition. Several months ago, maybe about a year or so ago, to bring in this OpenFlow product, which is managed Apache NiFi, which allows you to easily bring data into Snowflake. And a lot of customers are already using that for unstructured data. And then here's where we kind of get like a little bit, some excitement here around what we're building with Cortex is in the kind of the top two boxes there, agents and insights and processing and retrieval. So for document AI, we have a set of functions in Snowflake that you can use zero shot to parse information out of scanned documents, to use that information to organize that information. Additionally, we have an experience where you can take with as little as 20 scanned documents, you can build your own document AI project, right? So train, fine tune your own model for document AI processing, deploy that, and then use that as a function right inside of Snowflake. And then Cortex Analyst and Cortex Search are available in Snowflake as well. They're generally available, just like Document AI. We have lots of customers using them in production right now. Cortex Analyst specifically is text to answers with your structured data, right? And this is one service that really gets me excited, right? Because Snowflake made a bet that, in order to have a really highly accurate text to answer, and basically what it's doing is text to SQL to generate response, then return that response in, some summarized format or as a chart. In order to have a really good, highly accurate experience, you're going to have some sort of context, right? So we've built a really great experience for building semantic views on top of your structured data. They sit at the schema level. Leverage a lot of LLM to populate the descriptions and the mappings. And basically what you're doing is you're mapping business definition to data definition in these semantic views, right? Which under the hood are just YAMLs, but we have a great experience for building those, and humans can iterate over that. If you're seeing something, bad answers coming from your analyst experience. But what it's doing is it's giving 90+% accurate results for prompts to Cortex Analyst, right? So if you have a schema of data, let's say it's customer 360 or something like that, and you want to see like, what customers had the biggest fall off year over year in this region, right? You can get that information and then just keep asking questions of that, right? Like I think the dirty little secret for a lot of data platforms is that a lot of consumption is driven based off folks just running select statements in the UI. And anyone who says different probably hasn't looked at the numbers. And what this does is it basically enables like the entire organization to use that if you want them to, right? You can build analyst services and then expose them to end users, via you can control everything with RBAC. It's a Snowflake object, and customers can ask data of their structured data with high accuracy. And then related to that is Cortex Search. Cortex Search is our hybrid search service, right? There's a lot of vector embedding services out there. Cortex Search is one of them. It works really well. It's available. It's up there with the other best search services in the market. There's a handful of them. Search really shines in the fact that it's not expensive at all, right? It's really inexpensive. We separate compute for the embedding portion of the search service from the serving portion. So you're not necessarily having to pay for any additional capacity that you're not using. And Analyst is similar, right? It's not a lot of AI credits being used when you're using Search and Analyst. And then the next portion of that, kind of looking above Cortex Analyst, is Cortex Agents, right? So the idea is that you can build some search services, you can build some analyst services, and then maybe you can make calls to some external APIs or something like that, but you wrap it all up, add all those as tools into a Cortex agent, right? And then now you have this agent inside of Snowflake that you can use from external services, and we'll get into that a little bit, but also internally inside of Snowflake. And that's what Snowflake Intelligence is in the top left, right? Snowflake Intelligence, you can think of it as like a final UI layer with some reasoning on top of your agents, which are basically just pointing to those agent APIs with the agent specification. And then you can now chat with that agent that can go to multiple different tools, different analyst services, different search services, some different external calls, and wrap all that up into Snowflake Intelligence. The last square up there in the right, I guess the middle right that says Cortex AI SQL. This is sort of like the kind of unsexy world of AI with your enterprise data. I mean, what it is, it's like, hey, if you have pipelines already, you're preparing some structured data, but you want to tap into some of that unstructured data. Well, guess what? You can just use an LLM function or an AI SQL function to get some information out of that data, whether you're translating it or classifying it or summarizing it. This was like when we first started rolling out all of our AI services with Cortex. This is how customers went to production initially, right? And this is a great way for a lot of customers to go to production if they're still dipping their toe in the water of like, using their enterprise AI, I'm sorry, their enterprise data with AI. AI SQL is a great way to start with it, right? Because you can kind of get used to the way these models work and the fact that they are probabilistic and that there is a little bit of considerations you have to consider for monitoring and how to set that up, and it's really easy to do. But AI SQL is a nice toe in the water before you start diving into some of the agentic processes. All that said, right, like when we're thinking about how we work together with AWS, there's definitely some overlap, right? And like we like Snowflake Intelligence. It's a great tool. We expect a lot of customers to use it, but it's a front end on top of our APIs, more or less, our agent APIs. And there we have customers who maybe have data sitting elsewhere, and they're using other AWS services along with their Snowflake data and their Snowflake services, and they have to kind of figure out a way to kind of stitch that all together. And that's where we get into kind of this next part of how Snowflake and Snowflake Cortex works together with AWS for AI, right? Bedrock offers a lot of these services, right? They're available. But what we're seeing is that customers want, they'll say, hey, listen, we've built an agent inside of Snowflake, right? Let's say we have an analyst service on structured data and we have a Cortex search service on unstructured data. Maybe we have many of these, right? And they're all added as tools into our Cortex agent, but like using Snowflake Intelligence just to query that data is not going to work, right? And it could be, and this isn't depicted here, maybe you want to use Amazon Q, right? Maybe you want to chat, you're already using it for something like Q for business, and you want to chat with your data. You want to be able to chat with this Cortex agent right from that same pane of glass. That's fine. There's a way to set that up. It's via a custom plugin, but we have a quick start out there. If you Googled Snowflake Cortex and Q for Business, you'd probably find it. I wrote it and published it. We just updated it a few weeks ago, so I'm fairly certain it works and it should work for you. But that's a really easy way to just kind of chat with your Cortex agent from a chat experience that you're already using. This architecture is a little bit more robust. What we're saying is like, hey, listen, you know, I'm using Agent Core, right? I'm building models, I'm building agents inside of Amazon, and you want to connect to Elasticsearch, you want to connect to S3, you have some data in Redshift, but you also want to connect to Snowflake. You want to have Snowflake be plugged in to that broader universal agent, and this is how you do it, right? Using Agent Core Gateway. So you have the ability in Agent Core Gateway to establish a target with an open API schema. You set that up, connect it to Cortex agents, and now that's one target in a gateway that can now be used by a broader agent, right? And the beauty of all of this is that, I think one of the things that I like is like setting up identity is pretty low effort in this deployment where Bedrock and Agent Core will manage those services, set up Cognito for you, set up Key Manager service, so it's all done and taken care of for you. We just published a quick start on this yesterday. So if you did a search for, Agent Core plus Cortex agents, you'd find that you can kind of set it up. It's really simple. It's kind of setting up a quick Cortex agent and then creating a target from Agent Core Gateway. I'm also pointing to an open Wikipedia API. You can kind of combine those two targets into a gateway that you can use down the road in a broader agent. But the quick start's really easy. It takes like 30, 40 minutes to set up, and you can kind of get started that way. Okay, this is all really good, right? These are all architectures, but it's nice to kind of think about and talk about. It's nice for us to talk about how customers are actually using this out in the real world, right? So kind of first things first, we have two customer stories, right? And one of them is around Pizza Hut. So Pizza Hut, right, is a chain restaurant of pizza delivery and in-store dining. And Pizza Hut's been a big customer of Snowflake and AWS for quite a while now. And Pizza Hut is using Snowflake to consolidate all their data, bringing it together, and then leveraging agents on top of that, right, to kind of better understand why things are happening. Um, the idea is that I don't think BI is necessarily going away, right? Like the notion of kind of having all these dashboards and applications and visualizations just going off, I don't think that's going to happen, right? Customers want to have that dashboard in front of them, right? It's like driving a car, but they also want to be able to quickly now get to that next answer, right? Like why did we have a longer delivery time in this region, right? Can I just go? I'm seeing that in my dashboard, but now I want to ask some questions. I don't know how to run. I'm an executive. I don't know how to run a bunch of select queries. But now rather than having to go to somebody to run those, I can just ask some questions, right? And that's what we're starting to see with customers like Pizza Hut who want to get a better understanding of their customer, right? These back office use cases, customer 360, patient 360, are where we're seeing a lot of value for customers who are building agents in Snowflake. The second and last customer we have is Hot Topic. We have like the real cutesy slides where it's like the hottest topic is AI. So I guess I'm sort of kind of making that joke, but also distancing myself from it. So the hottest topic here is AI. And what Hot Topic is doing is kind of going back to like that kind of like AI SQL batch LLMs on your enterprise data. They're using that functionality inside of Snowflake to better tag some of the items that they're selling, right? And to make it easier for customers to search their website and to understand, what and to get, I guess, better results back when they're searching on their website. They're also doing things with, Customer 360 and agents, and being able to better leverage their enterprise data from Snowflake with agents and being able to kind of, federate that across their enterprise. So the last thing I'll say before I open it up for questions is that I think in all honesty, right, like, LLMs and Gen AI, this whole wave has been around for, call it like a year and a half, 2 years now. And, the 2025 really was like a lot of the use cases were code generation or kind of very simple like efficiencies gained of like, just doing a better version of search and things like that. And I think that is really true. I think the area where Snowflake has been obsessed with is being able to provide a service or a platform where you can use this AI with your enterprise data, right? The idea is that, now that everyone's kind of is understanding how powerful these LLMs and this AI is for coding and efficiency, um, it's exciting to see, right? And Snowflake has built a really great experience that's secure and easy to use on your enterprise data to better leverage a lot of these AI tools with your enterprise data. And you could do so on AWS and alongside and with many AWS native services. Okay, I'll stop there. I think I hit my target of about 17, 18 minute presentation. And I know we have a few minutes open for or left for Q&A. So I guess we'll open it up now.